Great, so we're going to practice yin yoga. And if you don't already, I didn't mention this, the towel and is a good substitute for a yoga blanket if you're at home, and a couple other props that you can use if you have blocks. Those are great. If you have just really firm small pillows at your house, books might be a little too hard, but a couple pillows would be good. And then one longer big pillow, maybe like a body pillow that you can use as a bolster if you don't have one. Those are good options. So you can just get into an easy seated position. And since we're practicing yin, a lot of this practice is about going inward. So we're just going to start off right away with closing the eyes. And turning your attention towards your breath. In yin yoga, we practice stillness, holding the postures for minutes at a time. And just taking this time during this practice to rest into silence. Internally, just slowly letting the mind chatter, dissipate throughout the practice. And even with this breath, just coming into the moment. Noticing how just focusing on this breath slows things down a couple notches internally. When we move into the postures, it's important to not go all the way to your edge. Since we'll be holding for time, they'll get more intense as you go along. So even now, just finding a comfortable seat, rooted in your sits bones, Sukhasana, easy seated pose, feeling a slight pull through the crown of the head. You may like to deepen the breath and let out a sigh and release any excess tension across the back. As you breathe in, just soften into this posture. Feeling upright and self-confident in your body. And exhaling, releasing any unnecessary tension across the jaw, behind the eyes. You can even let the teeth part slightly, maybe even the lips part as well. And then release your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And find this internal posture, just taking the tip of the tongue to the roof of the mouth, right where the soft palate meets the hard palate. So you'll feel a ridge at the top of your mouth and a change in texture. Keeping your jaw relaxed, just pointing your tongue up. And finding this inner posture for meditation to begin. Upright and relaxed. Finding that balance of yin and yang working together. Feeling the subtle movements within, subtle sensations of the breath. the movements of the mind and the emotions within the stillness of your posture. That is this little bit of yang within the yin, like the circle within the yin yang paisley shape. Becoming aware of this balance. The yin yang is a centrifuge, the two always interdependent, always in relationship to each other. Now move a little bit with the breath. And just be mindful and aware of that dance of yin and yang with your breath and movement. You can bat your eyes open or keep them gently closed. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. And then exhale for a gentle twist, looking over to the right. Take the right hand behind you as a gentle kickstand, left hand towards the right knee. Inhale, feel the lift and lengthen through the spine, all the way up to the crown of the head. And then on the exhale, really wring out the breath. Feel the twist working its way up from the bottom up. Very slowly, you may start to turn your head to look over your right shoulder. And have a couple deep breaths here. Deep, nourishing breaths, just feeling the posture, softening into it. On the exhale, releasing unnecessary tension. On the inhale, sitting upright, really light in the right hand. It's really coming from the support of the sits bones. Evenly balancing both hips. Another deep breath here. Exhaling all the way out, really getting all the stale air out of your lungs. Empty, empty, empty. And then inhale, slowly revolve back to center and reach the arms up overhead. And feel that process of unwinding. Feel yourself coming back to center and pause here. Bring your palms together and reach. And then exhale to switch. We'll take the left hand back behind, right hand to the left knee. Remember to be very gentle on that kickstand. Feel the length of your spine. Exhale, twist from the bottom up. Feel your navel turn. And then your ribs. Then your chest. And very last, the head turns to look over the left shoulder. Keeping the chin parallel with the earth. Deep, nourishing breath. Releasing unnecessary tension on the exhale. And feeling your uprightness on the inhale. In Chinese medicine, it's called the zhongqi, upright qi, that fights the pathogens or the diseases that we experience in the world. That uprightness. Inhale, roll back to center and reach the arms up overhead. Feel that process of unwinding and reach. And then exhale, lower your right hand down to the ground and stretch through your left side body. You can bend your right elbow just a little bit. Find a nice deep stretch. You can open the collarbone and look up towards the left shoulder. Your left elbow crease. Deep breath in and root down through your left hip. Reach up through your ribs. Open up. And then exhale, maybe bend just a hair deeper into that right elbow. Next time you inhale, start to make your way up, just following your own breath. Whether I'm a step ahead or behind your breath, just take your time. Reach. And then exhale, lower the left hand. Reach the right arm up overhead. You can bend into the left elbow. Root down the right hip and really reach through your spine. So you still have that little pull through the crown of the head. Broadening the collarbone. Find a comfortable position for your neck, either looking straight ahead or up towards the crease of your elbow. And just feel what's different from side to side. Exhale, maybe go a hair deeper. And then inhale, reach the arms up overhead. And exhale, bring the hands together in front of the heart. And close your eyes for a moment. You may like this time to just set the intention for your practice with your eyes closed, feeling just that little breach of opening that's happened. And just a little deeper attention. And today we're gonna use the energy of the Chinese astrology turning into this new year. So as you're turning inward, we're gonna look upon the energy of this Chinese New Year, which happens on the first new moon of the calendar year. So it's a few days ago. And this is the year of the water tiger. The tiger is fierce, bold, self-confident. And water is a yin energy. Water is flowing. It changes its state of being easily. It transforms, phase shifts. And so together, this year may be unpredictable. It may bring great gains financially or in health and wealth. And to access these gains, we access our self-confidence, our inner tiger or tigress. This year could also bring great loss with that unpredictability. So we have to also learn to be adaptable like water. And just setting your intention for this practice. As we move through the Yin postures, we'll journey through the story of how the tiger got its stripes. So you can bow down just gently to yourself, initiating this practice, opening your eyes, and we'll move into our first Yin posture. So we're gonna hold this for minutes. If you're at home and you don't have a bolster, a big pillow, body pillow is a good option. And we're gonna put that right behind the back. Another option is if you have a back towel, you can roll that up so it's about the length of your spine. You wouldn't have both of these, just one. And you could put that behind your back. Either way, we're gonna want that support behind the spine, and we're gonna slowly come back onto the back. Opening the arms up to the sides, having the hands straight out from the shoulders at a T or up overhead, just to let the upper back release a little bit more. You need a little support behind your head, you can find that. Make sure that your hips can relax and they're not hovering off the ground on your prop, but your seat is actually on the earth. Give your hips a little wiggle. Relax your legs. Let your feet dangle. And as you feel yourself really set up into this pose, your body is ready. Take a deep breath in and exhale to commit to stillness, closing the eyes, settling in, finding that yin state of stillness in the body. Letting this practice restore your body. as if you're on the charging block. Receive the energy that's coming in through your breath. Even the energy that comes through your body in the shape of emotion or thought. The energy of your heartbeat. And let your mind and heart open. Let your grip go on any lingering thoughts of what has happened or what will happen. Just rest into the breath. Touching on your inner silence. As best as you can through each posture, maintain stillness. So if there's an itch, let it come and go. It will pass. And if there is a particularly painful period of a pose and your body is telling you you need to move, please do make those adjustments for your body, maybe even coming out of the pose entirely, and then return to stillness. Really tuning in and listening to your inner guidance. Finding your inner wisdom. We often refer to how the tiger got its stripes and earning your stripes as a token of wisdom. So how did the tiger get its stripes? Well, the tiger had heard of this grand thing called wisdom. And he made his way from the jungle towards the village to ask an ox that was resting in a field just chewing grass a question. This was a curious cat. And his question was, why, ox? Oh, don't worry, ox. I'm not here to satisfy my hunger. I just have a question. So why, ox? Why do you just stay in this field? I've seen your kind. You are great beasts. You could overpower your master easily. You've overpowered many animals in the jungle. And the ox says, well, my master has wisdom. And the tiger asks, well, what's wisdom? The ox responds, well, I don't know. Why don't you ask him? So the tiger makes his way to a man across the field. Just pausing here in this realm of story. Coming back to the breath and the body, hasn't left you anywhere. Noticing these inner movements that are happening, becoming acutely aware of the moments of joy and excitement, or the little flickers of fear. And as this story goes along, just being aware of those energies passing through you. Tuning in. Taking 3 more deep breaths. Resting on your back, really let yourself feel supported. Exhale through the mouth if you'd like, let out a sigh. Settle into that support. And at the very end of your last breath out, breathe in and reach the arms up overhead, point the toes, take a big stretch. And then exhale, you can take the soles of your feet to the mat. And you can roll off to the side to come off your prop, or you can take your hands by your sides and press your way up to your seat. And we're just going to make a slight adjustment here. We're going to turn the prop 90 degrees. So whether that's a blanket or a rolled up towel or a pillow, just rolling it to the side. And this time, we're going to come up onto the prop. Just a little bit with the seat. So your seat's actually off the ground by a few inches. So if you need to stack pillows, if you have really soft pillows, or need to get something hard underneath you, we're going to come back into a little deeper bend. If this is too much for your neck, you may like to find another blanket or little pillow to support your neck. Just going to get a little deeper into this back. So the hips are lifted, the thighs are at a slant, just floating. Make sure that there's no pinching in the low back. And if you can extend your back, you can take the soles of the feet to your mat and slide your hips down a little bit, if that helps. If your tailbone dips off the end of your prop, sometimes that can create a little pinch. So you may want to get your whole sacrum planted onto your prop so your low back is nice and supported. And if it at any point is too much for your low back, you just take the soles of the feet to the mat and it takes the pressure off the low back. So as time passes, it may become more or less intense. And again, you can have the arms out at a T or all the way up overhead. And deepen the breath. Expanding, letting the breath come into the chest. Filling the heart space and working its way down into the belly, into the gut. Feel your whole abdomen expand and contract with the breath. Just ride a few waves of breath, letting the eyes close down. Sinking in. Finding just a hair more relaxation across your whole body, through your jaw, letting your eyes rest into their sockets. Any grip in the hands or toes, just slipping away. And moving into the realm of story, we meet back with the tiger, who is now making his way across a farmer's field towards a small man. The tiger's thinking to himself, this tiny little scraggly man controlling that big, fierce ox? There's got to be something to this wisdom. I got to get myself some. And he's making his way gently, one paw at a time, as if stalking prey. Slowly, he approaches the farmer. And before the farmer can run off, he jumps to the other side and says, no, farmer, don't worry. I am not here to satisfy my hunger. And the farmer trembles in fear. The tiger says, I have a really important question. I can't get off my mind. And the farmer, wiping sweat from his brow, says, well, let me see. I hope I can help you. What is your question? And the tiger, feeling the excitement of being this much closer to gaining some wisdom, asks, what is wisdom and how can I get some of it? The tiger fears that without it, he will not be the most graceful leader of the jungle. He will not be able to maintain order in the chaos. And the farmer says, oh, I see. Well, you see, I left my wisdom back in my hut across the field. And I need to go back to get it. And I'm afraid that if you come back to my hut, the villagers will, they'll want to hunt you. They'll be afraid of you. So I think you should stay here. And I'll be right back with some wisdom. And the tiger ponders for a moment. Well, he says, okay, I'll stay here, but if you make me wait too long, I might have to satisfy my stomach. You see, it's been rumbling because I've been up for days now searching for this wisdom. And in that moment, the farmer actually hears the tiger's stomach rumble. And the farmer decides that he should go quickly and says, okay, I'll be fast, and turns away. And just before he walks away, he thinks, hungry tiger, buy my livestock. Maybe not a good idea. So he turns around and says to the tiger, I don't feel comfortable leaving a hungry tiger around my livestock. I'm going to have to tie you up to this tree for a moment until I get back. The tiger, so hungry for wisdom, agrees. And with some bamboo twine is tied up to a tree. Waiting there for a couple hours. Wondering if he'll ever get any of this wisdom. Gently feeling back into the body. Feeling into the opening in your heart space across the chest. And any subtle little sensations within the stillness. Taking a couple more deep breaths. And on your third breath, reaching up overhead, reaching through your fingers and your toes. And then gently coming back up to your seat, either rolling off your prop all the way to the side and coming up, or pressing your way up using your core a little bit more. And we'll move into our next pose, but before we do that, since we had a couple back bends, we're just gonna hug the knees into the chest and wrap the hands around the legs. And then take the head in between the knees and just let the head hang. Just come into this little pod shape. And just pause for a moment. And breathe into the back body and feel how your body enhances just this very subtle motion. Breathing through the whole back body. Breathing and expanding into the low back, the mid back and the upper back behind the shoulders. And then as you exhale, just softening, maybe hanging your head a little further forward. And just taking a couple more breaths in this fashion. Breathing in and up. Expanding and exhale, hugging in just a little bit tighter. And gently roll your way back up to your seat. So for our next posture, have some of your pillows, your big pillow, and if you have two small pillows or two blankets, that's great. Have those next to you. We're going to take the left leg out long, and then bend the right knee and put the foot right into the inner left thigh. So you're making this figure four kind of shape. So you have one knee, right knee's out, left leg straight. If it feels like a lot for this leg to come down, you can roll up or small blanket or towel or a little pillow underneath the left knee. You want to give your body a lot of support since we hold these postures for minutes, because as you hold, it might change. And then another pillow is going to come right on the inside of the left leg. In this pillow, you can shift the angle with by, if you have blocks or something firm to put under, you can get the angle a little bit higher. Because we're going to fold forward, so you're going to want it as far as you can get down. If you can't go very far at all, that's fine. You may not need much of a prop. You may be more upright. You can use something just to cross the arms over or to reach out and give a hug. I'm going to give you several options going deeper into the pose, and you can feel that's my edge, and then go to the option before that. If you reach your edge so that you don't stay at the edge the whole time, because it will get more difficult as the minutes pass. So start with the breath and sit up nice and straight. Get any extra abundance out from underneath you. Make sure your sits bones are nice and plugged in. Take a deep breath in and shift your torso so that your shoulders are in line with your left foot, your outstretched leg. And just feel that for a moment. Maybe you're already feeling a little engagement in the low back. And then slowly on the next exhale, lead with your heart from your center and draw yourself forward. Taking a deep breath in, lift and lengthen. So this keeps the spine upright just while we're working into it. Once you find that point before your edge, then you can get into the rounded back. But for now, just start with this. Inhale and lengthen. Exhale and lead with your heart. And just gently work your way towards your edge. Just one breath at a time, going a little deeper each exhale. And once you find that point where you're like, oh, if I go a little further than this, I might only be able to stay for 10 seconds or a minute. And find the place where you can be for a couple minutes and find your prompts there. Give yourself the support that you need. And we'll move into our Yin posture. Taking one more deep breath in, rooting into the sits bones, lifting through the crown of the head. And exhale, offer your heart forward, come down, reaching your heart down towards the ground as far as is comfortable, giving yourself the support that you need, and find a place of rest. You can close your eyes, taking a deep breath in, and a full breath out, and just relax a little bit more. Notice if there's anywhere you don't need to be holding across the face. Across the shoulders and the back. And wherever your deepest stretches in this moment, target your breath towards that area of your body. Your lungs obviously may not reach your thighs or your hamstrings or your low back, but you can feel the prana, the energy that rides on the breath. Go into those spaces. Fill those spaces. Expand those areas of tension, and on the exhale, just relax and unravel gently, one breath at a time. And yes, if you need to adjust at any point, make those adjustments. And then come back to the stillness. Remember, if you're not feeling much at the start, it will change. Just breathe with it. Feel those little minute changes that are happening. We're working with connective tissue, the fascia, ligaments, and tendons. We want to be gentle in encouraging the opening. And it really does just take time. That's why we rest in postures for so much time. Being patient. Just like the tiger who is now tied up to a tree, sitting there waiting for wisdom to be delivered. The tiger who's been waiting in the hot sun for hours sees on the horizon the small, lanky little farmer man and two young boys. The farmer has come back with his sons. And he says, "Here, I brought you some wisdom." And he has his sons throw pieces of dried straw down at the tiger's feet. And then they light it on fire. And the tiger, tied to the tree, starts screaming and roaring in pain as he's singed by the fire. And then the fire singes the rope. The tiger breaks free. And he runs off to the nearest cool spring, dips himself in the water, and comes out. He comes out now, not just a big cat, but a tiger with stripes, the orange from the fire and the black from the ropes that bound him. Sinking into the breath, just a few more breaths on this side. And at this moment, Stepping back into a state of reflection, just noticing how your inner wisdom makes sense of this story. How does it relate? How is it applicable? Taking 2 more deep breaths. You do not need to leave the contemplation or the physical relaxation. And of course, if you're in the middle of a release in your body, please stay a little longer. But if you're ready, after a full exhale, take a deep breath in and lengthen the spine and lift your chest back up very gently and slowly, engaging, making your journey slowly back, walking the hands back towards the body. You can move your prop over to the other side. You just take a moment in butterfly, soles the feet together, knees wide, and just let your body calibrate to that difference from right to left. You may feel it in your hip and your low back. You can give your legs a little shimmy. It's nice for the connective tissues to get a little wiggle in between so it doesn't get too stiff. And it's also very important to drink lots of water after or before yin, or during is okay too, but better before or after, because it is the inner fluids, the cerebral spinal fluid, that innervates the fascia, and then it recalibrates. You're creating new patterns in your body. We're going to switch to the other side. So when you're ready, the right leg gets stretched out long, left foot to the inner right thigh. And take some abundance out from underneath you. Get your sits bones nice and plugged in once you get into your seat. Find your props likely similar to what it was on the other side. So if you know that you needed your prop up quite high, just getting it ready for that, even at the beginning, is fine. And of course, if you surpass it on this side, it's easy to change. Filling up with breath, feeling the length in your spine, turn your torso to face your right leg. So there is a little bit of a twist happening from the hips to the shoulders, slight twist through the spine. Feel just that. And then slowly on your exhale, edge your way forward. You want to lean from your navel and your heart so that we're not rounding the back at the start of the stretch. Working your way in gently. Each exhale just going a hair deeper. And if you've already reached that edge, just pause there for a few breaths in stability, feeling the inhale and length and lift. And the exhale, maybe just moving into the pose a little more deeply internally. So there's an internal surrender to the pose, an internal adjustment. Feeling both your hips evenly grounded, keeping the torso square to the front foot. Deep breath in, and when you're ready on an exhale, just surrender into your pose completely. You can let the back round, you can let the head hang. If you're using a prop, you can do the opposite cheek that you did on the other side. If you didn't just rest on your chin. Notice where this stretch is meeting your body most, and go there and meet this stretch with your breath. And internally, take yourself on a journey through your own story. And for the rest of this class, we're just going to survey our own stories of self. In the memories, there is wisdom. Gently, just letting the mind settle into the stories of self. As if you were just watching these stories on a movie screen. Resting in the position of the observer. Noticing that these stories never actually change the screen itself. So if there's a fire on the screen doesn't catch on fire, it doesn't burn. If in the movie there's a waterfall, the screen doesn't get wet. This is a mental posture. You're putting your mind into the state of the observer. From this place, you can watch your stories of self without getting burned, without re-triggering the emotional pattern. And emotions may come up. There's nothing wrong with that. Just playing with this state of consciousness, collecting the lessons, not the pain. So you're going through, you're gently surveying stories of self. You can stay in this inner posture, this mental position of observing the stories that made you who you are today. And you can deepen the breath. And feel into this posture. Being kind to your body, noting if you would like to stay a little longer. Very gently, after another breath, full breath out. Empty out completely, and then inhale, gently come up. You can sway a little side to side. Find a little bit of that cat-like energy. Very smooth. Move a little differently. Cats always have fun ways of moving around. Transition in that way. Find your feline. Draw your feet together. We're going to take the hands behind the back, fingertips facing the body. And just give a little pump up to your chest. Supported by the hands. And then draw the knees together. Take the soles of the feet to the mat. And slowly drop your knees to one side and then the other. And you can look over the opposite shoulder to get a nice stretch through the side body. You can play with a little dip and then lift as you twist. So dipping through center and then lifting the abdomen as you switch the knees. And really rock into your pelvis, into your glutes. Feel those little pockets of tension working themselves out. Using gravity, you may like to find a little pulse or a little circle around any extra tense areas. And then gently adjust yourself back up to your seat, soles of the feet together, knees wide. We're going to go back into a reclined posture. Since so much of our world is focused like this on technology and screens and hunched, we're really focusing on opening, coming back to those more feminine movements of reaching and fluidity. So if you want to find your feline movements on your way, you can find those props that you used before and choose your back bend. So choose the height of your back bend with your prop. If you want to use the bolster, if you want to use a rolled up blanket, maybe roll 2 up and make it a little higher. You do want to keep your hips grounded for this one. So if you do a deeper back bend by turning your prop across the back, you want to still keep your hips grounded so they don't come up off the ground. And if you lean back and they start to come up off the ground, you're going to need to come back up and adjust so that they stay rooted. And as you work your way into it, you want to make sure this is an option too. You can have a blanket behind for your head support. You want to make sure that when you come back, there's no pinching in the spine. So pinching in the spine kind of, it feels just like a little ting. It's not like a physical pinch on your skin, but it has a tingle feeling. So you want to make sure the spine's supported. And when you're ready, come back onto your support. And this is going to open up the inner groin quite a bit, the hips. If your knees, once you come back, are quite high, even if they're just off the ground a little bit, find a couple pillows to put on either side or a block underneath the thighs. And those pillows are going to give you the support for your body to relax into. So you'll actually have a deeper stretch with the support. Once you get all settled in, your arms are either at a T or up overhead, down by your sides. If the fingers get numb with the arms overhead, just have them down by your sides. Take your time making those adjustments. You want to make sure you're really comfortable, so no rush into it. Getting any final little wiggles or adjustments out. Maybe rocking your shoulders or your hips a little, just settling into the support beneath you. Taking a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Settle in. Internally, turn your posture towards receptivity. Feeling your resilience. You have gotten through everything that's come your way. And even if others have helped and supported you along the way, you are here to be a part of this web of life, to share your wisdom and to receive the wisdom of others. You've earned your stripes. Feel your stripes. Feel your inner power. Open to whatever life hands you. Able to adapt like a cat, land back on your feet. Feel the preciousness of each breath. Letting your heart mind open and expand to all that this life has, all that it's given, all that it's taken, and allowing it all to just be a part of you, those orange and those black stripes, the fires that have set you free, and the ropes that have bound you. Feeling it all settle in. And allowing gratitude to arise for the trillions of cells in your body that support this life in this moment, that have been with you, that have gone through their own cycles of life and death, harmoniously supporting this experience. And not just the handful of lives, but the billions and maybe even trillions of lives that have supported you. The humans that bring you food to the grocery stores and that fly the planes that let you visit your family. Ones that sweep the streets, that pave the way. And even those close friends that have given you encouragement when you needed it most. Just feeling this gratitude swell up for all those lives, seen and unseen, that have supported you. And feel your whole body relax into that support. Internally from trillions of cells and externally to trillions of other lives. Feeling yourself integral part of this web of life. Taking 3 deep breaths. Breathing life in and letting life go. Being adaptable. Feeling into that breath, stoking your inner fire. And when it feels right to you, starting to wiggle and wake up the fingers and toes. The next transition is going to be to a deeper twist. So you can choose to sit up all the way, or if your props are just under your low back, you can put the feet on the ground and lift onto your shoulders and then slide your prop out. Or roll onto your side and then push your prop away from you. Whatever it takes, maybe find a sea lion, a very creative adjustment and transition. And reach out through your limbs as you move. And those deep little stretches in between the longer holds. We're gonna do a twist, like I said.
You can choose your favorite twist. I'll make a suggestion of one that's gonna get really deep into the side body, the low back. So we're gonna cross the right leg over the left. Just like you're crossing your legs sitting at a park bench. And then press into your left foot, the one that's still on the ground. And lift your hips and then set your hips down to the right a little bit. To get this mostly into your low back, you're gonna keep the left foot grounded. To get it more in across your whole back, you're gonna lift that left knee to get it right above your hips. And if you want it to target your upper back, you're gonna actually hug your knees up towards your chest. And you may like a pillow or a blanket next to you to support your legs. They're going towards the left. So if you need a prop, put it by your left side. Reach your arms out to a T. Knees in position, deep breath in. And then exhale, slowly feel the twist. Turning the knees over to the left. So it kind of pins the right foot underneath. And if that's uncomfortable, just unwind the legs. You want to keep the right shoulder grounded. So if you need to fold up your prop to keep that right shoulder grounded or use another pillow underneath the knees, you can. The left hand can go over the right thigh for a little extra gravity. And just like we did from that first twist, you want your chin now parallel to your shoulder instead of the ground. Getting that twist all the way up the neck, all the way through the spine. Deep breaths, really savoring this posture. And you can use your breath, you can work with your breath. And you can breathe in that which you're calling into your life. And you can breathe out and release from your cells any stagnant energy, any holding patterns mentally, emotionally, or physically. We'll make a suggestion, but of course you can choose your own words. Breathing in wisdom, breathing out regret. Breathing in peace and clarity. Breathing out resistance. Breathing in acceptance and allowing. Breathing out attachment and worry. Going along with your breath and words that support you moving energy. Energy in that activates your wisdom. Energy out that gets in the way. Three more deep breaths. Really letting it go. Feel free to let out a sigh and on. Ooh. Drawing in your vitality. And exhaling, letting go. Gently unwind when you're ready. Uncross your legs. Lift your hips back to center, and for a moment, just calibrate. Just find center and feel that difference right to left. Switch your props over to the right side. And then cross your left leg over your right. Press into your right foot, lift your hips and set them down to the left. It's just enough so that when we do the twist, you get onto the side of the hip. And if you didn't do that movement there, you'd end up, your spine would be twisted in two directions. You wouldn't have the alignment through your spine, and you may end up on your glutes instead of on your side. So you lift the hips and set them over to the side. Deep breath in, adjust your knees where you want them to be. Same as the other side, please. And then exhale, move into the twist, lowering the knees to the right. Using your props as needed. Adjusting your head, getting that twist all the way up the spine. Really let your neck release into this. So find a comfortable position for your neck. And breathe deep. Breathing in the wisdom, taking in the lessons, exhaling the pain. Breathing with any words, any energies that you'd like to work with. There's a Buddhist parable of two arrows. Suffering is inevitable. Pain is inevitable in life. That's the first arrow. The second arrow is the one that we put in ourselves. So maybe on the exhale, just releasing any of those optional arrows, the second arrows. Releasing self-judgment, breathing in acceptance. And you can stay with the same words for a few breaths. And even be more vague, you can draw in soft, warm energy. And release any rigidity and coldness. Maybe a nice thing to do on a cold winter day. And feel these things not just leaving through your breath out of your mouth or your nose, but through your fingers and your toes as well, through your cells. Releasing those inner ropes that keep you bound. Letting the breath be the fire that sets you free. 3 more breaths. After that third complete breath out, slowly transition. Taking your low back to the mat. Adjust your hips and find one final centering stretch. It can be very simple. You can just hug your knees into your chest. I would also recommend Happy Baby if you'd like, taking the hands to the outer edges of the feet, letting the sacrum stay glued down to the mat. You can give yourself a little wiggle, get a little feline stretch out. Not that I've ever seen a cat hold their back paws with their front paws, but get a little movement through your legs, a little expression, a little reach. And any final wiggles, and then make your way into Shavasana on your back. You have plenty of props. If you would like to use them, you can. You can end with a rolled up blanket underneath the knees, can just be a nice extra support for the low back so that the spine isn't stretched too much. But try to keep the spine flat on the ground. It is really beneficial to our posture to actually just rest on a hard surface on our backs. It can be hard at first. It can be very uncomfortable at first. And walk your shoulder blades together so they're supportive of an open heart. Let your palms be faced up at your sides, reaching out at about a 45-degree angle from the sides of the body. And you may like to tuck the chin ever so slightly and then release the head. Releasing the neck. If it needs another wiggle, just rocking the head side to side or just remaining in stillness. Getting a little wiggle out of your hips, letting your sacrum really rest into the earth. Feet just dangling off the legs. Closing the eyes. Let your self-identity go. Turn your attention inward. Who is watching? Who is the observer? Who is this that is breathing? Relaxation is just happening. You are not doing relaxation. Who is this that is enjoying relaxation? Turning the light of consciousness around and onto itself. This act expands awareness. Opening your consciousness to new levels of experience. Breaking out of the ruts and routes of cyclical thought. Who is thinking? Can you locate this I self? Is it sitting in a little control panel in the center of your head? No. Who is enjoying this relaxation? Who is speaking to you now? Who is listening to this voice? Rest in this well of wisdom that is beyond identity, status. Let go just a little bit more. Bathe your entire being in the renewing waters of surrender. Let go. Just be. Allow the breath to deepen. One breath at a time. A little bit deeper. Drinking from this well, your deep inner resources, your waters. And start to wake up your body as if you were coming out of a deep slumber, as if you were a tiger or tigress. Reach through your paws, through your fingers. Reach out to the sides and up overhead. Wiggle your chest and your tail. And gently make your way onto your side in a fetal position. And gently press your way up to your seat. Take your time. Coming up, right again, feeling that uprightness. And feeling this uprightness that will get you through this next year and whatever unpredictable changes it brings you. Feeling your center, it's always here. Come back to your center. We'll close our class with an Om. So this chant of Om, we're connecting to this primordial sound that innervates everything, all the trillions of cells in your body, all the lives that are on this planet right now and have been and will be, and beyond our own atmosphere, into the cosmos, to the great central sun, to the center of the galaxy. It's this sound that is omnipresent. So just connecting to that sound for a moment through mantra, Om, and just a brief moment of silence after to just let this all sink in. And that will be the end of this evening together. So we'll think that breath one last time, breathing in together and letting go. Breathing in, arms up overhead, reach. Exhale, palms together in front of the heart. Touching the thumbs to the sternum, deep breath into your heart's deepest intention. And let go. Breathe in for Om. Om. Letting your chin fall, tucking, bowing to your inner wisdom. Knowing you can always trust your inner guidance. Listening to your inner being. If you ever feel off, just pause and listen. Namaste. Thanks for joining from your homes.
Thank you, Elise.